The starlit expanse above New Haven Colony erupted in a cascade of purple-tinged rifts as the Nerian battle fleet emerged from hyperspace. Admiral Kendra Santos stood at the observation deck of the hidden Terran facility deep beneath the colony's surface, her weathered face illuminated by the distant flashes. 20 years of preparing for this moment, and the Nerians had finally taken the bait. "Status report," she commanded, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. The holographic displays surrounding her showed the enemy fleet's formation. 47 capital ships arranged in the infamous Spear of Conquest, pattern the Nerians had used to subjugate countless civilizations. All systems nominal. Admiral, Lieutenant Commander Chen reported from his station. The quantum field generators are at full capacity, and the colonists have been safely evacuated to the underground shelters. The enemy thinks they're scanning a primitive agricultural settlement. Santos allowed herself a small smile. The Nerians, like most spacefaring races, relied on conventional scanning technology. They had no way of detecting the quantum-shifted infrastructure that lay beneath the seemingly primitive colony. Every building above ground was a carefully crafted deception, a facade maintained for 3 decades as humanity waited for the perfect moment. The massive holographic display showed the Nerian flagship, the Eternal Dominion, moving into position above the colony's central district. Grand Marshal Vexthor, the infamous conqueror of the Centaurian worlds, was about to learn a costly lesson about underestimating humanity. They're broadcasting their standard surrender demands. Communications Officer Rodriguez announced, her neural implants processing the alien transmission. The usual threats: immediate submission or orbital bombardment. Santos nodded, activating her neural interface with a thought. The quantum computers embedded throughout the facility hummed to life, connecting her consciousness to humanity's most closely guarded secret, Project Prometheus. Let them think we're scrambling in panic. Maintain the facade for another 3 minutes. Deep within the facility's quantum core, rivers of impossible light danced through crystalline matrices as decades of human ingenuity prepared to reveal itself. The Nerians, masters of conventional physics and proud conquerors of 100 worlds, were about to discover why humanity had seemed so suspiciously isolated and defensive for the past century. "Enemy weapons are charging," Tactical reported. "They're targeting our government buildings first. Standard conquest protocol." "Perfect," Santos whispered. She opened a secure channel to all hidden facilities across New Haven. "All units, prepare for Protocol Omega. Let's show them why humanity spent the last 100 years playing possum." The Nerian ships launched their first salvo, streams of plasma fire designed to demolish the colony's primitive defenses and break its people's will to resist. The energy beams struck their targets with devastating force, vaporizing the carefully constructed buildings in spectacular explosions. Grand Marshal Vexthor watched from his command throne, his 4 eyes narrowing in satisfaction. Another primitive world would soon join the glory of the Nerian Empire. His victory speech was already prepared, ready to be broadcast across conquered human communications channels. But something was wrong. The explosions weren't dying down. The plasma fire seemed to be shifting, changing, flowing like liquid light across quantum possibilities that shouldn't exist. Santos gave the command that humanity had waited a century to utter. "Initiate quantum reflection protocols. Show them what humanity can really do." The laws of physics shuddered as humanity's quantum technology revealed itself. The Nerians' own weapon fire began to ripple and fold through dimensions they couldn't comprehend, their destructive energy redirected through quantum mirrors that humanity had perfected through decades of secret research. Vexthor's victory speech died in his throat as he watched the impossible unfold. The primitive agricultural colony shimmed like a mirage, quantum shifts revealing the true face of New Haven, a fortress of technological advancement that his sensors couldn't even begin to understand. And from hidden hangars across the surface, humanity's real fleet emerged, ships that existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously, vessels that could rewrite the laws of physics on a whim. The trap was sprung, and the galaxy's greatest conquerors were about to become the conquered. Santos allowed herself another smile as she gave the order that would change the course of galactic history. All ships, execute attack pattern Prometheus. Let's show the galaxy why humanity spent a century preparing instead of expanding. The battle for New Haven was about to begin, and the Nerian Empire would never be the same. The space above New Haven erupted in a display that defied conventional physics. Humanity's quantum-shifted fleet emerged like ghosts through reality itself, their hulls shimmering with technologies that the Nerian Empire's sensors couldn't even register. These weren't the primitive spacecraft that galactic intelligence had reported. These were the products of a century of focused human innovation. Captain Maya Patel stood at the helm of the EDF Prometheus, humanity's most advanced warship. Her neural interface hummed as it connected her consciousness directly to the ship's quantum core. Through it, she could feel every aspect of her vessel, from its reality-bending drive systems to its phase-shifted weapon arrays. All ships form up on quantum sync protocols, she commanded, her words carrying across the fleet's secured networks. Remember your training. The Nerians can't track us when we're phase-shifted, but they can still get lucky. Stay coordinated. The human fleet moved with impossible grace, their formations flowing like liquid mercury through space. Each ship existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously, making them nearly impossible to target with conventional weapons. It was a technology that had taken humanity decades to perfect, developed in absolute secrecy, while the rest of the galaxy thought Earth was just another primitive civilization. Aboard the Nerian flagship Eternal Dominion, Grand Marshal Vex Thor's command staff descended into chaos. Their sensors were showing impossible readings, ships appearing in multiple places at once, energy signatures that contradicted the laws of physics, weapons that simply shouldn't exist. How are they doing this? Vex Thor demanded, his mandibles clicking in agitation. No species can advance this quickly. Their colonies were primitive just decades ago. His tactical officer's response was cut short as the first wave of human attacks struck. Quantum phase torpedoes passed through the Nerian shields as if they didn't exist, their warheads shifting back into normal space only after they had penetrated the hull. 3 Nerian cruisers vanished instantly, their atomic structure scattered across multiple quantum realities. Back aboard the Prometheus, Captain Patel watched the battle unfold through both conventional sensors and quantum space monitoring systems. Target their command and control systems, she ordered. Let's show them what happens when you mistake patience for weakness. The human fleet's coordination was unlike anything the Nerians had ever encountered. Each ship moved in perfect synchronization, their actions guided by quantum-entangled combat networks that operated faster than light itself. Where the Nerians expected to find primitive kinetic weapons, they instead faced technology that could locally rewrite the laws of physics. Deep beneath New Haven's surface, Admiral Santos monitored the battle through her neural interface. Activate the quantum field generators, she commanded. Let's remove their last advantage. Massive generators hidden beneath the colony's surface hummed to life. A wave of quantum distortion spread across the battlefield, disrupting the Nerians' faster-than-light communications. Their carefully coordinated fleet began to fragment as ships lost contact with each other. Impossible. Vex Thor raged as his fleet's formation collapsed. Their technology. They'd been hiding their true capabilities. This was a trap a century in the making. Santos whispered to herself. Initiate Phase 2. Deploy the quantum mirrors. Space itself seemed to fold and ripple as massive quantum mirror arrays activated around the battlefield. These devices, another closely guarded secret of human engineering, could catch enemy weapon fire and redirect it through quantum space. The Nerians watched in horror as their own energy weapons began striking their ships from impossible angles. Captain Patel's voice carried across the human fleet. All ships, prepare for synchronized quantum strike. Target their command ship. Let's end this before they can adapt. The human fleet moved as one, their ships phase-shifting through multiple realities simultaneously. To the Nerians, it appeared as if they were fighting ghosts, vessels that could simply ignore the laws of physics at will. You wanted to see humanity's true face. Santos broadcasted across all frequencies. Here it is. We spent a century preparing while you thought we were hiding. We studied your tactics while you thought we were cowering. And now you'll understand why humanity chose patience over expansion. The battle for New Haven was turning into a demonstration of just how dangerous humanity could be when pushed to innovate. The Nerian Empire was about to learn that sometimes the most dangerous civilizations are the ones that choose to wait and prepare. The void above New Haven had become a graveyard of Nerian warships. Quantum-phase debris drifted through space, each piece telling the story of humanity's devastating technological superiority. But Grand Marshal Vex Thor wasn't ready to admit defeat. The pride of the Nerian Empire wouldn't allow it. Concentrate all remaining power to forward shields. Vex Thor commanded, his voice carrying the edge of desperate determination. Launch all fighter squadrons. They can't phase shift everything. The Eternal Dominion's hangars disgorged hundreds of fighter craft, their crystalline hulls gleaming in the light of distant stars. It was a desperate gambit, overwhelming force against an enemy that seemed to ignore the very laws of physics. Captain Maya Patel watched the fighter swarm approach through the Prometheus's quantum sensors. Interesting strategy, she mused, her neural interface processing combat data faster than organic thought. They think numbers might overwhelm our quantum systems. All ships initiate Protocol Hydra, she broadcast to the human fleet. Show them why quantity doesn't beat quantum superiority. The human fleet's response was poetry in motion. Ships began to quantum split, each vessel appearing to exist in multiple states simultaneously. To the Nerian fighters, it was like attacking shadows. Every time they thought they had a target locked, it would shift through another quantum state. Deep beneath the surface, Admiral Santos activated the next phase of humanity's defense. Bring the quantum field manipulators online. Let's show them what happens when you try to overwhelm a prepared position. The space around New Haven rippled like heat waves over desert sand. Massive quantum field generators, hidden for decades beneath the colony's surface, began to alter the very fabric of local spacetime. Nerian fighters found their weapons passing harmlessly through phantom targets while human counterfire struck with unerring accuracy. How? Vex Thor demanded as he watched his fighter squadrons decimated. How did they develop this level of technology in secret? Our intelligence said they were barely capable of interplanetary travel. The answer came in the form of Captain Patel's voice, broadcasting across all frequencies. You assumed isolation meant weakness. You never considered that we chose to wait, to watch, to learn. Every encounter you had with other species taught us something. Every conquest you celebrated showed us what to prepare for. The Prometheus led a devastating attack run against the Nerian flagship, its quantum-phased weapons bypassing shields that had protected the vessel through 100 campaigns of conquest. Reality itself seemed to bend around the human ships as they executed maneuvers that defied conventional physics. Target their primary power core, Patel commanded. Quantum sync strike in 3, 2, 1. 5 human warships fired simultaneously, their weapons synchronized through quantum-entangled targeting systems. The beams converged on the Eternal Dominion from angles that shouldn't have been possible, each shot passing through multiple quantum states to ensure at least one would strike true. The Nerian flagship's defenses, the pride of their military technology, might as well have been paper against the onslaught. Explosions rippled through the massive vessel as quantum-phased energy tore through its systems. Admiral, Lieutenant Commander Chen reported from New Haven's command center. We're detecting power fluctuations in their remaining capital ships. They're attempting some kind of emergency maneuver. Santos nodded grimly. They're preparing to retreat. Activate the quantum anchor fields. The Nerian Empire needs to understand exactly what they've stumbled into. Massive arrays of quantum technology, hidden in orbit around New Haven, sprang to life. The fabric of space-time grew rigid, preventing the Nerian ships from accessing their faster-than-light drives. They were trapped, forced to face the consequences of their aggression. "Your empire has conquered 100 worlds," Santos broadcast to the trapped Nerian fleet. "You've subjugated countless species, always assuming that technology that matched your understanding was the only technology that mattered. Today, that assumption ends." The human fleet moved into final attack positions, their formations flowing like liquid metal through quantum space. They were no longer hiding their capabilities. The time for secrecy was over. The galaxy would soon know that humanity had spent its isolation preparing for exactly this moment. "All ships, prepare for final engagement," Patel commanded. "Let's show the galaxy why humanity chose to perfect our technology before revealing it. Fire when ready." The battle for New Haven was about to reach its devastating conclusion, and with it, the balance of power in the galaxy would shift forever. Grand Marshal Vexthor stood amid the chaos of his burning flagship, watching his mighty fleet crumble before what he had dismissed as a primitive species. Emergency lights cast crimson shadows across the command deck as damage reports flooded in from the few surviving ships. The pride of the Nerian Empire was being systematically dismantled by technology that shouldn't exist. "My lord," his tactical officer's voice cracked with desperation, "we've lost contact with the entire third battle group. They just ceased to exist. Our sensors show quantum dispersal patterns we can't even begin to understand." Through the flagship's viewports, Vexthor watched as another cruiser vanished, its atomic structure scattered across multiple quantum realities by human weapons. The battle had become a demonstration of power so absolute that it bordered on the supernatural. Aboard the EDF Prometheus, Captain Maya Patel directed the final phases of the engagement with calculated precision. "Status report on the quantum anchor field," she commanded, her neural interface processing battlefield data in real time. "Field strength at maximum, Captain," her XO reported. "The remaining Nerian vessels are completely contained. They couldn't retreat now even if they managed to power up their FTL drives." Patel nodded, her attention focused on the tactical display where the human fleet continued their devastating attack. Each ship moved with perfect coordination, their quantum-phased weapons bypassing defenses that had protected the Nerian Empire through centuries of conquest. "Admiral Santos," she communicated through their quantum-entangled network, "the enemy fleet is neutralized. Shall we proceed with the final phase?" Deep beneath New Haven's surface, Admiral Santos studied the battlefield hologram with grim satisfaction. "Initiate protocol revelation, Captain." It's time they understood exactly what they've awakened. The space around New Haven began to shift and ripple as humanity's most closely guarded secrets revealed themselves. Massive orbital installations phased into normal space, installations that had remained hidden in quantum shift for decades. Each one represented a level of technological advancement that the Nerian Empire had believed impossible. "Impossible," Vexthor whispered, his mandibles clicking in shock. "These facilities, they've been here all along, watching, waiting." For over a century, Santos' voice echoed through every Nerian command frequency. "While you conquered your way across the galaxy, humanity prepared. Every world you subjugated taught us something. Every species you enslaved showed us what to avoid. We chose isolation not out of fear, but because we needed time to perfect technologies that would ensure this day would be decisive." The orbital installations began to power up, their quantum field generators creating patterns of energy that defied conventional physics. The remaining Nerian ships found themselves trapped in a web of quantum manipulations that rendered their weapons useless and their shields meaningless. "Your empire's greatest weakness," Patel broadcast, "was your assumption that your understanding of physics was complete. You never considered that a species might develop along completely different technological lines. Your arrogance became our advantage." In a desperate last attempt, Vexthor ordered his remaining ships to concentrate fire on a single human vessel. The combined energy of a dozen Nerian capital ships lanced out across space, only to be caught and redirected by quantum mirrors that bent reality itself. Admiral Chen reported from his station in New Haven's command center. We're detecting power surges in their command ship. They're attempting to overload their core. Santos' expression hardened. They would rather destroy themselves than face defeat. Captain Patel, execute containment protocols. Show them that even their last resort is under our control. The Prometheus led a synchronized quantum strike, its weapons precisely calibrated to disable rather than destroy. The Nerian flagship's power core went dark as quantum-phased energy disrupted its systems at the subatomic level. Listen carefully, Grand Marshal, Santos broadcast. What happens next depends entirely on you. Your fleet is defeated. Your weapons are useless. And now you face a choice. Acknowledge humanity's place in the galaxy, or force us to demonstrate even more of what we've developed during our isolation. The battle above New Haven had become more than just a military engagement. It was the moment when the galaxy's balance of power shifted irrevocably. Humanity had revealed itself not as another conquest for the Nerian Empire, but as a force that had spent generations preparing for this very moment. The turning point had arrived, and with it, the dawn of a new era in galactic history. The aftermath of the Battle of New Haven spread across the galaxy like a shockwave. The Nerian Empire's greatest fleet lay in ruins, its surviving ships held motionless by human quantum technology. Grand Marshal Vexthor, conqueror of 100 worlds, stood in New Haven's underground command center, facing the species he had so gravely underestimated. Admiral Santos studied the fallen commander with calm detachment. Your empire has spent centuries believing that military might alone determined a species' worth, she said. Today, that belief ends. Through the quantum-enhanced viewing screens, the remnants of the Nerian fleet hung suspended in space, their once mighty weapons rendered useless by technology they couldn't comprehend. The orbital installations around New Haven now stood fully revealed, testament to humanity's century of careful preparation. You could have annihilated us completely, Vexthor observed, his voice carrying a mix of fear and grudging respect. Why didn't you? Captain Patel, who had joined them from the Prometheus, stepped forward. Because destruction was never our goal, Marshal. This demonstration wasn't about revenge or conquest. It was about changing the galaxy's fundamental assumptions about power. The quantum display showed feeds from across known space as news of the battle spread. The Nerian Empire's client species watched in amazement as footage of their conqueror's defeat circulated through subspace networks. Humanity had orchestrated not just a military victory, but a cultural revolution. Your empire's greatest failure, Santos explained, wasn't underestimating our technology. It was assuming that isolation meant weakness. Humanity spent generations watching, learning, and preparing while you dismissed us as primitives hiding in our corner of space. Lieutenant Commander Chen's neural interface hummed as he processed incoming data. Admiral, we're receiving transmissions from 17 previously subjugated species. They're requesting diplomatic contact. And so it begins, Santos nodded. The rebalancing we planned for all these years. The quantum cores beneath New Haven pulsed with energy as humanity's hidden network of installations across the galaxy began to reveal themselves. On 100 worlds, technology that had remained phase-shifted for decades emerged into normal space. The Nerian Empire's subjects discovered that they had never been as alone or defenseless as they had believed. These installations, Vexthor realized, his mandibles clicking in shock. You've been protecting them all along. Every world we thought was helpless had humanity's quantum technology watching over it, Patel confirmed. We couldn't reveal ourselves too soon, but we could prepare. Every conquest you celebrated was another piece of our network falling into place. In orbit, the human fleet began the process of securing the surrendered Nerian vessels. The quantum anchor fields shifted, allowing controlled movement as ships were escorted to designated holding positions. The efficiency of the operation highlighted just how precisely humanity had planned this encounter. Your empire now faces a choice, Santos addressed Vexthor. You can adapt to a galaxy where strength is measured by more than military might, or you can cling to old ways and fade into irrelevance. The species you've subjugated are awakening to new possibilities. The question is, will the Nerian Empire awaken with them? Through quantum-entangled communications networks, humanity began reaching out to the galaxy's oppressed species. Offers of technological assistance, defensive partnerships, and cultural exchange spread across space at the speed of thought. The careful groundwork laid over generations was finally bearing fruit. A century of preparation, Patil mused, watching the diplomatic transmissions flood in. A century of watching, waiting, and building in secret, all leading to this moment. Not an ending, Santos corrected, but a beginning. The galaxy is about to discover what humanity can truly offer when we step out of the shadows. We didn't develop our technology to dominate, but to ensure that no species would ever need to face subjugation again. As the sun rose over New Haven Colony, its light reflected off the quantum-shifted hulls of the human fleet. The facade of primitives hiding in their corner of space had served its purpose. Now humanity could emerge as what they had spent generations becoming. Not conquerors, not victims, but guardians of a new galactic order. The Battle of New Haven would be remembered not just as a military victory, but as the moment when the galaxy's understanding of power fundamentally changed. Humanity had revealed itself not through conquest, but through protection. Not through destruction, but through preservation. The dawn of a new era had arrived, and with it, the promise of a galaxy where technology served not to subjugate, but to elevate all species to their highest potential.